Well, everybody, it is election day. Election day, well, it's primary election day here all across the state of Minnesota. We're very excited about today. I know a lot of you guys are too. And I just want to give you a quick update. We're out in the field right now, as some would say, swamp crushing in House District 55A. We're exposing Bob Loonan's bad record on gun rights. We're making sure folks know Eric Mortensen is 100% pro-gun. I'll tell you what, we've had some tremendous results already. I spoke with Bob Loonan yesterday. Oh, he didn't have a whole lot of nice things to say, but he couldn't really refute anything that we were saying. That's pretty typical for politicians. So we're out here right now doing our job as a grassroots gun rights organization. We're out here exposing anti-gun politicians, and we've been doing this for weeks. We put out mailers in a whole bunch of targeted primary races. It's been very exciting. We love, guys, I know you do too, we love getting our pound of flesh, your pound of flesh, for what they have done to us. 2018, we got kicked in the teeth by anti-gunners and by many so-called pro-gun Republicans who fell down on the job and attacked gun owners. Well, today is our opportunity, guys. So right now, again, we're out in House District 55A. We had teams out here yesterday going door to door. We've hit thousands and thousands of houses, letting folks know that Bob Loonan, as some call Boozer Bob, soft on guns, soft on gun control, and one of Kurt Dought's button pushers in St. Paul. We don't need button pushers. We don't need bench warmers. We need folks who are going to fight for the Second Amendment, who are going to fight on behalf of gun owners. So that's why we're out here today dropping thousands and thousands of these flyers all across Shakopee. For those of you who don't know where House District 55A is. But guys, I just want to give you one last quick update. If you don't know already, click on the link on top of this video, and that is our survey results page. For those of you who are regular watchers, you know that Kurt Daudt has been on the warpath against gun owners. He has been telling all these candidates, don't fill out the Minnesota gun rights candidate survey. They campaign against Republicans. Well, you know what? We go against anybody who stands in the way of our gun rights. Anybody who's going to lock down, stand your ground for years. If you're going to lock down, stand your ground, we're going to expose you. That's just the way it works, because you know what? We care more about freedom. We care more about our gun rights. We care more about the Second Amendment than we do about any politicians, about any party, about any sense of leadership in St. Paul. We're just not concerned with those things. What we want is stand your ground. We want constitutional carry, and we want just an adequate defense of the Second Amendment. I don't see why that's so hard when we have pro-gun majorities in St. Paul. So Kurt Dought's telling everybody, don't fill out the survey. So I'm telling you, there are not a lot of results on our survey results page. Not a lot of results, because most candidates went, you know what? I intend to go to St. Paul and be really good friends with Kurt Daudt, and I don't want to make him mad. I wouldn't want to damage that relationship. So most of these quisling, feckless politicians didn't fill out their gun rights candidate survey. Several did. Several pro-gun candidates did, like Eric Mortensen right here, who is promising to be a warlord for gun owners in St. Paul. We thank people like Eric Mortensen for filling out his survey. And I'll tell you, we've never too much bandied around the issue or tried to couch our words. That's not the kind of organization that we are. But I want to tell you, as far as the gubernatorial election goes, you guys, we get a lot of questions about this. We've been putting out a lot of answers. Again, to this very moment, what time of day is it? It's 11:06. It's 11:06 on primary election day. Tim Pawlenty has still refused, absolutely refused to fill out his Minnesota gun rights candidate survey. We've had hundreds and hundreds of gun owners have called his office, emailed him saying, fill out the survey, Tim. Let gun owners know what you're going to do when you make it into St. Paul, or when you make it into the governor's office, if you do. And what does he say? Oh, I don't fill out surveys. The staffer told me, I called them. The staffer tells me, well, Tim Pawlenty, he doesn't want to be held accountable for any, he doesn't want to be held to any promises that he makes on a survey, so he doesn't fill it out. That's literally what they told me. He doesn't want to be held accountable for anything he puts on paper, so he refuses to put anything on paper. I couldn't even believe it. I was blown away. I said, then how in the hell do you expect tens of thousands of gun owners to line up and vote for Tim Pawlenty if he refuses to put his name down on a little 8-question gun rights candidate survey? Outrageous, outrageous. On the other hand, so that's Tim Pawlenty. And we saw more than that. I think we got the answer we're looking for. You guys know it, I know, we all saw it on NPR just a few weeks ago. Jeff Johnson and Tim Pawlenty having a debate on NPR, and Tim Pawlenty, just cool and suave. I really think that it's time for, I'm pro-Second Amendment. I support the Second Amendment. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But it's time that we ban bump stocks. It's time for universal gun registration. It's time for mental health gun control legislation. He named those things specifically on NPR. That is the Tim Pawlenty gun control agenda for Minnesota. And let me tell you exactly what that looks like. Exactly what that looks like during, say, another shooting. Some big shooting happens. The media's going nuts. They're screaming for gun control. What happens to Minnesota under a Tim Pawlenty administration? Gun control is the name of the game. People like Kurt Dowd are itching to pass it. And now, if under a Tim Pawlenty administration, that is what happens after a big old school shooting that they are going to want to jump on top of and politicize to advance their own gun control agenda. On the other hand, Jeff Johnson, like a dog on a bone, trying to get his hands on the Minnesota gun rights candidate survey. He couldn't fill it out fast enough. He said, I want to stand up for gun owners. He's been vocal, totally vocal in his support of the Second Amendment. He filled out our survey 100% pro-gun. More than that, he filled out our Minnesota Gun Rights Leadership Pledge, which is also something candidates rarely do, because it's just another set of questions they have to put their name down on, making promises that we intend to hold them accountable to follow through with. We want to hold them accountable, folks, but Jeff Johnson filled it out 100%. He promised to veto universal gun registration. He promised to veto red flags, gun seizure bills. He promised to veto any and all gun control legislation. He promised to sign into law, Stand Your Ground. Isn't it time for Stand Your Ground law in Minnesota? 36 states have it. All these states have Stand Your Ground law. Minnesota, nothing. Under our feckless leadership in St. Paul, we've got nothing. But Jeff Johnson, he didn't just fill out his survey saying, yeah, I'll sign into law. He has promised in writing to go to the mat for gun owners and to urge the legislature to fulfill their promise to gun owners and pass this pro-gun legislation. So he has gone to the mat for gun owners. He filled out his survey 100%. And that is where Jeff Johnson stands. For months, he's been saying, look, I'm not willing to compromise. I don't think any new gun control legislation will help anything whatsoever, and I'm totally opposed to it. And Jeff Johnson has stayed so far true to his word. So those... comments. I love comments. See,
questions on where to find information.
Oh, all right. Information. You guys looking for information? On top of this video, click on the link. There's a link to our survey program, a survey results page. On the top, you can read all about what Jeff Johnson said, what Tim Pawlenty has said, and you can scroll down. All the House candidates are all listed there who filled out the Minnesota Gun Rights Candidate Survey. The answers are right there. Not many. Most sided with Kurt Dowd, most sided against gun owners to protect their own backsides, and have refused to fill out the Minnesota Gun Rights Candidate Survey. For us folks, that means when they go to St. Paul, they're going to be another button pusher for the establishment. You won't fill out a gun rights survey. You want to pretend to be pro-gun. You won't even fill out a gun rights survey and let gun owners know where you stand. How are we supposed to sit here and say that you are going to be a pro-gun champion? Very few have done that. And the answers are right above this video in the description of the video. So let's see here. Eric Howell says, we need Stand Your Ground and Jeff Johnson will help us get it. Let's see. Craig says, Pawlenty is a has-been, a no vote from this gun owner and vet. All right. Let's see here, guys. A lot of you guys coming on here. Thank you for coming on here today. And again, Eric Mortensen, this is where we are right now. Where are we? We're at the corner of Caspian and Gotland Lane, right here in Shakopee, Minnesota. We're out knocking on doors and passing out these flyers, thousands and thousands of flyers, letting folks know where Bob Lunin stands on the Second Amendment and where Eric Mortensen stands on the Second Amendment. Bob Lunin, soft, very soft. No good for gun owners when it comes to the Second Amendment. He won't advance any critical gun rights legislation. I asked him yesterday, because we didn't know it, but we were putting a flyer on Bob Lunin's house, and Bob steps out and he goes, "Hey, you're the gun guy. Why don't you come on in here, let's talk." And I said, "Sure, that's just fine." And he starts laying into me about this and that. And I said, "Just answer me this. This true story. Senator Eric Pratt was sitting right there, true story." I said, Bob, did you ever one time stand up in caucus and say, Kurt Doubt, it's time to put Stand Your Ground on the House floor for a vote. Let's get a vote on Stand Your Ground for gun owners. Did you ever do that, Bob?" And hey, to his credit, he answered honestly, I believe, and he goes, "No, I did not." He never one time stood up in caucus when everything's private, right? There aren't any cameras there. There's no other people there. It was totally private, and he could have said, "Kurt, why don't we do this?" He refused to fight for gun owners. He refused to even ask Kurt Doubt to put Stand Your Ground on the floor for a vote. That is Bob Lunin to a T, and that's so many more. That's your Milquetoast Josh Heinzmans, your John Postmans. The list goes on. Your Cal Bars, as we've all seen now. Low bar. I have to say that. It's low bar. Terrible. This is what's happening in St. Paul's. Weak, feckless legislators. Well, today is our time. Today, right now, is the August 14th primary. Go to the polls. Vote pro-gun. Check out the survey results on the link right on top of this video. Check it out and go out and vote pro-gun. When you're done, join Minnesota Gun Rights. Join up with us. We're out here. We have teams of volunteers. Some came from way up past Brainerd. These people are coming down. They're helping us pass out this literature right here. Good stuff, hard-hitting stuff. This is the stuff people need to see about where these candidates really stand. Not the crap that's being passed out by the HRCC. Not Kurt Doubt dumping tens of thousands of dollars into this race, trying to destroy Eric Mortensen because he intends to fight for gun owners. We don't need any of that. So check it out on top of this video and join up. Become a member of Minnesota Gun Rights. It's $35 a year or higher if you want. You get a free t-shirt with your membership. Join up today. The link is on top of this video. Help us push back. This is just the start. We're rolling out massive elections programs in targeted districts all across the state. Mail, emails, Facebook videos sponsored for hundreds and hundreds of dollars into targeted districts. Your contributions pay for this. I wish, yeah, exactly. I wish I could if I was a billionaire, if I was Michael Bloomberg, if I was the gun rights Michael Bloomberg, I'd pour $10 million into the state and destroy the anti-gun caucus. That's what I would do. I'm afraid I just can't do it. I don't have it right now. So I need your help. Join up, become a member. If you already are, make another contribution. Again, we're rolling into the general election now. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is our time to hold these people accountable for their either full-blown, blatant attacks on the Second Amendment like we saw with people like Lion Scott Jensen. Unfortunately, he's not up for re-election because he's a senator. That's 2 more years yet. But all these anti-gunners who attacked our gun rights, or the Bob Lunins of the world who did nothing, who admit to your face, I never once stood up to fight for gun owners. I never once stood up to leadership to help advance the Second Amendment. Bob told me that to my face at his dining room table yesterday. And if most of these legislators were honest, I think if I was standing at their table, they'd probably tell me the same thing. Then again, they'd probably tell me a lot of other stuff that's unpleasant, but you know what? We don't care. They're politicians. That's their job. It's our job to expose them. So get on board, click on the link, find out where your candidates stand, find out who filled out the survey and who stood with House leadership, who stood with Kurt Doubt and attacked the Second Amendment and refused to fill out their survey. So again, Tim Pawlenty, anti-gun, refused to fill out his survey, wants major gun control. That's Tim Pawlenty. He's remained true to form all the way through today. Jeff Johnson, 100% pro-gun, filled out his survey 100%, and we can hold him to it. So those are the results for all the house races. Go on there, click on the link, figure out where they stand, go out and vote pro-gun. We're going to keep hitting the doors here. Polls close at 8 o'clock tonight, so we're going to keep hitting all these doors with these flyers, making sure gun owners know where Eric Mortensen and Bob Lunan stand on gun rights issues. So that's all I have for right now. Go out, vote pro-gun, and I'll have more updates for you either this afternoon, maybe tomorrow morning, maybe tonight as the election results are coming in. We'll see. So I'm signing off right now, guys. Thanks for joining us.